Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Evening News for today, Friday, January 8th, 2021. I'm Delroy Dash. Thank you for tuning in. In the headlines, IFLUT Estate prepares for first crop target of 9,000 tons. Major fire averted at Fogarty's building. 11 more Durham students test positive for COVID-19. Government looks forward to more oil exploration in Kanji block, says Minister Barrett. Mother arraigned for attempted murder of 6-year-old daughter. And Gov't PSC ink symbolic pact to strengthen ties. And now for the news in detail. A massive project has been undertaken at the IFLUT Sugar Estate to rehabilitate the 150-year-old structure into one that can achieve the necessary results. In this report, you will hear that its first aim is to reach the 9,000 tons target for the first crop. Rupa Sunarine visited the estate on Friday and filed this report.
Another $4 billion would have been recently funneled into the Guyana Sugar Corporation, some of which was used to revamp critical infrastructural framework of the IFLUT estate, which had severely affected sugar production. During a media tour of the facility on Friday, over 200 workers were on site to rebound operations with the installment of a new cane washing machine, new gear turbines, and a new governor for the 2.5 megawatt turbine alternator.
Now, the canes will enter with a lot of extraneous matters, including mud, sand, and other obstacles. Now, we really need a new cane wash system here to improve, to avoid some of these extraneous matters to enter our factory, to aid in proper milling and steam generation to supply power to this factory. Also, it will enhance in our sugar quality and in the factory operation as a whole, because when these foreign extraneous matters enter into the system, it creates problem both with the mechanical side and in the processing side. The powerhouse, we have two issues that we got to deal with. One is we got to replace the defective governor that controls the turbine, the 2.5 turbine alternator set that we have. At present, the turbine, the governor malfunctions and it puts on deficiencies on the swing loads and so on. And if we get that governor replaced, it's going to help the factory to maintain a proper steam generation and power supply to the entire estate.
Works are also underway to replace the boiler chimney, along with investments for the crystallizer. Some of these works will be completed during the first crop and will be ready for the second later this year. These efforts are all geared at improving the sugar quality and overall production for 2021.
We are scheduled to do a complete rehabilitation of the crystallizer system and the drives and the cooling and heating. Reason being, with the rehabilitation works would cause us to gain more sugar. It would increase in our grain growth and crystal sizes. We have lost the effectiveness in the current system. So what we are planning to do during this outer crop period and probably the next outer crop period is to completely rehabilitate and do back each and every one of them so we could get more effectiveness from them, get more crystals, more sugar overall. With this, it will help us to boost our overall production and reduce in our costs.
The present state of this chimney is very poor. As you can notice, it has a lot of pitted holes on it and it's partially rotten. Now, we have to use some reinforcement as stiffeners to keep it going throughout the year because we didn't have the material on hand to get it done. Now, as you can see, work is start to be done here. We're replacing it with a 3CR chimney from Wales, which is going to be higher. It's going to help to improve in the factory efficiency and steam generation.
Last month, it was announced that Gaisuco had produced 85,531 tons of sugar and was on course to achieve the 89,000 tons before the crop closes. IFLUT Estate was the first to wrap up production for the second crop with a total of 18,599.4 tons. Rupa Sunarine, The Evening News.
We're now joined by Vanu Manikchand, who reports that firefighters were able to contain a fire at William Fogarty's limited building in Georgetown, thus averting a major disaster. In this report, you will hear that the fire reportedly started in the kitchen of the cafeteria situated on the ground floor.
Heavy smoke was seen bellowing from the back of the building at about 9:30 on Friday, and an alarm was immediately raised. The building, which houses a number of businesses on its ground floor, was quickly evacuated. Fire Chief Marlon Gentle, who was on the scene, told reporters that fire tenders were dispatched from the Central Fire Station at Stabroek, Albertung Fire Station, and West Rumfeld Fire Station, along with the newly acquired fire boat.
When they got here, they encountered heavy smoke conditions on the low floor with smoke creeping to the upper floors. We were able to go into a quick attack mode and located the fire in somewhere in the kitchen just behind me. The fire was already spreading through the ceiling and going to the business area of the store. The crews managed to isolate the fire, attacked it, and suppress it.
After putting out the blaze, investigators from the fire service inspected the kitchen area where the blaze started.
Something went wrong in the kitchen, but I don't think it's an appliance, cooking appliance. We believe it's an electrical fan, one of these extractor fans.
While the extent of the damages from inside the building is unknown, at least one clothing store at the back of the building was damaged. Meanwhile, one businesswoman who currently rents a portion of the building as a storage bond explained that she was at her pharmacy in the Guyana Post Office building when someone informed her of the fire.
I called the fire brigade and they said they're on their way. They got a call already. They did come, I would say promptly, but there was an issue with water. Something about the house, maybe it was broken there. I saw them wrapping and it took a while. No damage, I would want to think, because we closed the shutter, and like many people did. And they, one store, I saw the fire police, they had to cut that for the water to access water into the building.
Firefighters had to ventilate the building in order to clear it for occupancy. By Friday afternoon, store owners were given clearance to re-enter the building. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony on Friday disclosed that another 11 students from the dormitories have tested positive for COVID-19. One more teacher and 5 members of the auxiliary staff also tested positive. Rubasi Narayan reports.
According to recent statistics, the total positives now stand at 54, comprising of 30 students, 11 teachers, and 13 members of the auxiliary staff. This information was made available in the COVID-19 update provided by Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony.
Well, as of today, we have 30 students who have tested positive. We have 11 teachers who came back to teach, and they have tested positive. And we have 13 other staff. You know, in the dorms you have the persons who are cooking and so forth.
As such, these persons remain in isolation and their condition will be monitored. He noted that testing will continue as the days progress when students return to the dorm facilities.
All of these persons are now in isolation, and we'll see how that evolves. There's still some more testing to be done as students come in. We're expecting some of the students from the far-off areas to come to those dorms, and when they come, they'll be tested. So these numbers might go up. We have, in every region, we have institutional isolation, so we can utilize those facilities, and in some cases that is what we have done. So for Region 4, for example, those students who were at President's College and tested positive, and the staff there, we have isolated them at our isolation facility at Diamond. In other cases, apart from the institutional facilities that we have, within the same building, you can isolate people because they, keep them in separate rooms and things like that. and make sure that they abide by certain protocols. So we're able to do that in some instances where you don't have an institutional isolation facility nearby.
Collaborative efforts between health officials and the Education Ministry had materialized to test students, teachers, and
Remand. And a small transparent Ziploc bag containing the ganja was discovered in his pants waist. The cannabis was weighed in his presence and amounted to 7 grams. He was told of the offense and subsequently admitted ownership. The illegal drug was handed over to the police. With U.S. oil giant ExxonMobil drilling its maiden well in the Kanji block, the government is anticipating similar explorations and production activity in the area. Here are the details from Lake Rambagirat.
On Tuesday, it was reported that Esso Exploration and Production Guyana Limited, a subsidiary of United States oil giant ExxonMobil, had started to drill its first exploration well, Bulletwood 1, in the Kanji block, marking the first foray into that block in search of oil. Against this backdrop, Natural Resources Minister Vikram Barrett in a statement said, quote, "The Ministry of Natural Resources is pleased with these reports and looks forward to further prospects of exploration and production in this area." End quote. The Kanji block lies 180 kilometers offshore Guyana in deep to ultra-deep waters with an area of approximately 4,800 square kilometers. The operator of this block is ExxonMobil with a 35% interest, while Total also has a 35%, JHI 17.5%, and Mid-Atlantic Oil and Gas Inc. 12.5% interest. The Bulletwood 1 well is the first well to be drilled in the Kanji block and was spotted by the Stena Karen drill ship, which commenced drilling on December 31, 2020 in a water depth of 2,846 meters. This well is said to be extremely prospective, with an environment of disposition unique among offshore Guyana blocks in that it contains both continental slope and basin floor terrain. In fact, Bulletwood 1 is an upper Cretaceous confined channel complex prospect that targets approximately 500 million barrels of oil resource, similar to the profitable Liza field wells in the Stabroek block, which the U.S. oil giant also operates. The announcement of Exxon's spudding was made by investment company Westmount Energy on Tuesday and followed recent notices from the Maritime Administration Department to vessel operators of the activities offshore. Reporting for the Evening News, Lake Rambagirat.
Coming up on the other side of the break, mother arraigned for attempted murder of 6-year-old daughter, and contractors arrested for dumping waste in cemetery. Please stay tuned. You're watching the Evening News. A 25-year-old mother was on Friday placed on bail for the attempted murder committed on her 6-year-old daughter when she appeared at the New Amsterdam Magistrates Court. Here are the details from Andrew Carmichael.
Deputy Barkaran of Good Banana Land, East Canje, was not required to plead to the indictable charge, which stated that on Sunday, December 13th at Good Banana Land, she attempted to murder her 6-year-old daughter, Shania Ramsaran. Presenting the case, Police Prosecutor Paravan Sehu told the court that Barkaran has a history of beating her daughter and that the child is still traumatized from the recent attempt on her life. Magistrate Renita Singh, during the proceedings, inquired of the child's whereabouts from her father, Steve Ramsaran, who was present in court. He told the court that she is currently living with an aunt. Arguing for the denial of pretrial liberty, Prosecutor Sehu further stated that the accused might attempt to tamper with witnesses since they are all neighbors. However, Magistrate Singh disagreed with the arguments put forward by the prosecution and granted Barkaran her pretrial liberty but ordered that she remains 100 feet away from the child. It was reported that the child was found in an unconscious state in a swamp near to her home after being reported missing. Her parents were separated, but her father was given visitation rights every Sunday. Barkaran had told this newscast that she was innocent. She said that she had confessed to the police because they made her do it. It had also been reported that the 6-year-old put the mother on the scene and said that it was her mother who hit her with a piece of wood. Nevertheless, today in court, the young girl's father, Steve Ramsaran, was in court. After court, he told the media that his daughter still has a fracture. He said that a CT scan which was conducted on December 22nd shows that the fracture is there and says that it might last for the next 6 weeks.
She's in a better condition than when she went before. She's coming around slow, but at certain times she'll be, fearful still. She'll be in her quiet moments, like last week. When you talk to her, she won't answer you. She'll probably she'll no or yes. She's coming around slow. She's gonna make it though.
Meanwhile, the matter has been transferred to the Reliance Magistrates Court and comes up on January 27th. Reporting from outside of the New Amsterdam Magistrates Court for the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
The Guyana Office for Investment, GoInvest, on Friday signed a symbolic memorandum of understanding with the Private Sector Commission to unlock a series of benefits and incentives for local entities. Vanu Manikchand reports.
The MOU was signed by Chief Executive Officer of GoInvest, Dr. Peter Ramsroop, and Chairman of the Private Sector Commission, Nicholas Boyer. According to Ramsroop, one of GoInvest's missions, and by extent the Guyana Government's mission, is to work closely with entities in Guyana to promote investments in 2021.
We have discussed and partnered with the private sector to ensure that our local companies know about what incentives government can give to the private sector, how we can bring them together with the international foreign direct investors coming in, how we can promote joint ventures, how we can promote different activities within the private sector. And I'm glad that the Private Sector Commission and its chairman has worked with us in signing this agreement, and look forward to a good relationship working together from government and private sector to promote Guyana opportunities.
Meanwhile, Boyer referred to the signing as a symbolic action to cement the relationship that already exists between the two bodies. He noted that the new pact represents the deepening of already established ties between the two entities.
What is ahead for Guyana is significant, and the private sector needs to work on developing itself. And what better agency to work through than GInvest? We expect a number of international companies to be interested in our local markets. And similarly, we also expect a lot of local private sector companies wanting to reinvest into Guyana and to expand. And as such, we're ready to work with GInvest to do the things necessary to build that local private sector, whether it be joint ventures or deepening of existing markets, whether it be new access to new markets. These are the things that we are going to work on together.
According to the PSC chairman, this symbolic action will send a signal throughout the various networks that the Commission and GoInvest are ready to do business together. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
An internal audit of 5 neighborhood democratic councils in Region 6 is still to commence, 1 month after the regional executive officer was instructed to have it done. Our Barbies correspondent Andrew Carmichael reports that the vice chairman has refused to reveal the discrepancies he has allegedly unearthed.
1 month ago, Regional Vice Chairman Jamal Hussein claimed that there were irregularities discovered at 5 NDCs in the region. Those NDCs are Medetarlogy, Bushlot Adventure, Kintyre Bolam, Putmorant Johns and Gibraltar Firish NDCs. As head of the Regional Local Government Committee, Hussein made the recommendation for each of them to be audited. Hussein had gone as far as mentioning that financial documents went missing from one of the above-mentioned NDCs. The REO was, however, tasked with ensuring that the audit department checks all documents pertaining to the NDCs. When the RDC met again on Thursday, Councillor Colin Moore questioned the allegations and asked the vice chairman to provide evidence to his claims. In response, Hussein noted that the matter is being investigated, but Moore, who is also a part of one of the mentioned NDCs, noted that since there is no evidence, the matter should not have gone public based on hearsay.
It paints a bad picture to the first NDCs. It is wrong, and I'm asking the council to deal with these issues more diplomatically, sir. Right? You can't say you're done the investigation, this is what was unearthed, and now you're saying that we have to wait on some investigation. Right? These are sensitive matters, and Mr. Chairman, to the Vice Chairman, we need to deal with this in a more diplomatic way.
Hussein maintains that there is evidence but refused to provide such evidence to the RDC.
At the meeting that the audit would reveal whatever there is discrepancy at the NDC. I am not privileged. I have some in my possession, some evidence that I will deliver after the audit, and I've said it at the last time I stand here. So I will urge that the regional audit system kick into play and ensure that we audit the various NDC that I've mentioned.
Back in December, it was promised that the audit of the NDCs would have commenced, but 1 month later, the process is yet to begin.
I think the audit hasn't started because of the holiday. And we were unable to reach for the meeting yesterday because I had some other engagement. So as soon as we reach, we will discuss on the way forward.
For the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
5 contractors who were recently caught dumping waste material in the Lerepantare Cemetery are expected to be charged for doing so. Lawanda McAllister has details.
This was revealed by Mayor of Georgetown, Uberj Narain, who said the unnamed contractors were caught in the act dumping slush in the cemetery and was subsequently arrested. Those arrests were made sometime between the latter part of 2019 and the first week in the new year. Narain said the contractors were contracted by the Ministry of Public Works to clean the drains in Georgetown. However, instead of properly disposing of the slush taken from the drains, the contractors thought it best to dump it in the cemetery. The mayor said the council is most times upbraided for these activities, but they are not responsible.
Lack of information, these things happened. Who get the blame? The mayor city council get the blame. We feel the squeeze here. When you come for information is very important, and we're not getting that.
There have been several reports in the past of contractors dumping waste around Georgetown. In December 2019, unwanted items were heaped onto the corner of Regent and Border Streets. It was allegedly placed there by contract workers who were employed to clean the Border Cemetery. As a result, taxi drivers who usually ply their trade in the vicinity could not occupy the area, and many were forced to cease work until the debris was removed. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Lawanda McAllister.
A 61-year-old man of Charlotte Street border, Georgetown, was on Thursday nabbed with a .38 revolver and 5 live rounds of ammunition in the vicinity of the Demerara Harbor Bridge. Police stated that at the time of the arrest, the man was driving a motorcar when ranks attached to the Criminal Investigations Department observed him acting in a suspicious manner. As such, his vehicle was intercepted, a search was conducted on his person and the vehicle, and the illegal gun and ammunition were found. He was questioned and admitted that he did not have the necessary license. The suspect was taken into custody and is assisting with investigations. The mayor of Georgetown, Uberj Narain, on Friday related that a memorandum of understanding was inked between the City Council and the Lamaha Gardens Community Cooperative Limited with the aim of enhancing the community. Here are the details in this story.
The initiative is a collaborative effort geared towards the development of the current open space area in Lamaha Gardens. The mayor confirmed that even though no structures will be erected, the land will be used as a mini park for the children of the community and as a space for leisure activities for the residents.
That area has been neglected for many years. Mr. King had done some work, yes, but maintenance was lacking. And the community, there's a group that wrote to us, and the deputy mayor, who is a rep for that constituency, also make representation at the level of council. And I joined with him to give that community, to empower that community to develop that open space so that they can utilize it, and they can utilize it for the children, utilize it for exercise and all these things they want to do. And there will be no structure on it. It will just be a mini park for that community.
Mayor Yuvraj Narain urged businesses in other communities to partner with the City Council to execute similar developmental works in their communities.
And I encourage businesses of the city, residents, we can do the same. That is something I believe will help the community, will help the areas where you lived to have a better way of development and a better way that where you can go and relax your mind and so on. If there is any open spaces, we're ready to help you guys to develop it in a way, giving you an MOU and tell us what you need from us, and we'll see how we can able to help.
The MOU was signed in the chambers of the City Hall of Georgetown on Wednesday. Reporting for the Evening News, Ebony Giles.
We'll now take a look at the bridge reports.